Alright, what's up y'all, LakerFan here. As you can see by the title of today's video, I'm here to ask the question: is the NBA 2K22 Next Gen Myplayer builder the most balanced we've ever seen in 2K history? What really sparked this question in my mind was talking about height. So, for instance, things like 5'7" to 5'9" point guards used to be clown builds. They used to be something you would meme around on. There was no point in making this because the speed would cap out at pretty much you could make a 6'1" and still have 99 speed, or 6 foot point guard, or whatever the case may be. In 2K22 Next Gen, there's a valid reason to make any height in the game. For 5'7", it'd be for mismatch expert and to be as fast with the ball in your hands as possible and still have a 99 three-pointer. That really does still extend all the way up to 5'9" in terms of giving you the most speed with ball, most three-pointer, all types of stuff like that, most ball handle in this game. When you exceed past that point of 5'9" up to 5'10", you now no longer have 99 ball handle, which takes away the Hall of Fame unpluckable. But at the end of the day, they've made a lot of gameplay updates in this game to where I don't even think that's really necessary that much anymore. And the only thing you're really shooting for at that point is 99 three-pointer. I also don't even think you need that anymore. Honestly, the point guard heights from 5'10" up to 6'3" even are still super valid as well when it comes to the wingspan being influenced, the height, all types of stuff like that, the weight. At the end of the day, even with a 6'3" point guard, you still have 96 three-pointer, 93 ball handle, and 92 speed with ball. All of this stuff still allows you to have Hall of Fame quick first step, every playmaking badge you would want in the game except for unpluckable and ankle breaker on Hall of Fame. And then the only super key shooting badges that you're missing are Hall of Fame blinders, Deadeye, and Hot Zone Hunter. That's literally it. So honestly, when it comes to the point guard position, I really don't think you can go wrong on anything you do from 5'7" up to 6'3". Then if you're talking for more of a two-way point guard, 6'4" and 6'5" is the best possible defensive height you can make in the game, in my opinion, when it comes to perimeter defense, and while still being a good secondary ball handler. Things like 6'6" all the way up to 6'9", every height, 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". It's perfect when it comes to playing really versatile, good on-ball, pure lockdown defense. And then for the center position, I think you can make the case for running anything 6'9" or above. You could even make the case for still running 6'8" or 6'7" if you want to be a true live by the three, die by the three team, or play really crazy size defense, nobody's a liability on perimeter defense. I feel like the big man position is all up to preference when it comes to this year's game, but again, I think you can make the case for anything from 6'9" all the way up to 7'3". It's insane that this is a thing. This is the first time, in my opinion, that this has ever been a thing in the game. And again, just to kind of backtrack all the way to this point with the 6'9" build, you can make the case for really good passing lanes. Obviously, it's kind of more so the glitch metric build. I don't think default 6'9s are that good after looking at the glitch metric 6'9". But moving along, we talked in a video from a couple days ago talking about how the 6'10" build is so crazy versatile on offense while still having driving contact dunks and standing contact dunks. As you can see, you reach 84 driving dunk, 99 standing dunk. Your vertical rating is literally 85. It's crazy, bro. All this stuff is really good. And then, as some of you guys know, I have my 7-foot metric build as well. It's pretty much a mesh between 6'11" and 7 foot. It's like 6'11" and 3/4. But either way, you can make the case for either of those heights in this game as well. And then to go even further than that, a lot of people vouch for the 7'2" being the most comp center build in terms of all the things you get with really good physicals, all types of stuff like that. And then obviously a lot of people know as well, you make the 7'3" max wingspan build and give it a little bit extra weight. Now you're looking at Hall of Fame rebound chaser, you're looking at an amazing interior defender, screen setter, all types of stuff like that, unstoppable in the paint. The list goes on and on. As we said, every single height in the game from 5'7" all the way up to 7'3" is literally valid and viable. The only thing I could even pick out that's really like not that good maybe is an actual 6'11" build. I mean, or maybe an actual 7-footer, but that's more so because we found metric builds that have essentially the same heights but with different ratings. And the only thing that devalues those default 7-footers or 6'11s is the fact that there are actual good metric versions of that make the height better. Or same goes for like the 6'9". So literally, you can make the case for any single height in this game, all the way from 5'7" to 7'3". Now let's take this point that I just made, talking about how every single build is possible or viable to run. Let's compare them. Let's talk about the 5'7s through 5'9s and compare them to pretty much anything taller than that, like the 5'10s to 6'3s. And we'll talk about if those 5'10s to 6'3s can really compete with the meta that was once established of being 5'7" to 5'9. Now I will say this as well, with the gameplay updates and everything that's been influenced, whether it be the interceptor patch or the left-right patch that pretty much stalls people from going backwards and left or backwards and right. And I will say, some people think that that's just not a thing anymore. It 100% still is. I mean, people have been influenced in the way that they can dribble the ball with their guards and everything like that. It just got a little bit less nerfed to an extent. But either way, I really do think with that left-right patch, it made it so any build that's taller than 5'9" can still be a viable point guard. Before that patch, there was no reason to be anything but a small point guard. You could absolutely dominate the game when it came to the speed with ball, three-pointer, hunting for three-pointers, work with the pick and roll constantly, or even ISO for three-pointer and just get everybody out the way, and boom, now you can just go to work just like that. So I really do think that the game has balanced the guard position really well. You do see a lot of people come out here with literally anything at the PG spot anymore. Some people run triple ISO with 3 locks and they play a 6'5" at the point guard spot. Some people come out here with a 6'3" at the point guard spot and still play good defense with it. Some people don't worry about defense quite as much and maybe even go with a 5'7" with the wingspan, sort of similar to this as well, where you have elite perimeter defense while still doing this. But as we all know, the interceptor patch really makes builds like this less viable. Where once upon a time, with Hall of Fame interceptor and 90+ steal rating, the 5'7" builds could still play absolutely insane passing lanes, jump up and fly for balls, even with 25 vertical, literally. I mean, it defies a lot of logic, but they did make it so these small guards can't play as good of passing lanes anymore. They don't bounce and jump the way they used to for the lanes, and at the end of the day, they are a liability on defense now. And I think this game is in a really good balance spot overall. Again, just to kind of backtrack to it, you can make every single height in the game and seen as comp. You could make anything in this game and be able to use it. Alright, so the next topic in today's video that I want to talk about is going to be badge budgeting. So, as a lot of you guys are familiar with, in this game, there is a certain thing in terms of thresholds when it comes to attribute ratings, where, let's say my 92 speed with ball makes it so I can get Hall of Fame quick first step, as you can see. But if I go even higher on the attribute ratings, all the way up to what is 95, it makes it so I only have to pay 5 badge points for the Hall of Fame quick first step. Whereas, there are other badges in the game, like we'll go ahead and just show for defensive leader. I can equip defensive leader with having 96 perimeter defense, or in this situation you can do it with 90, but it does cost you 7. That's because it's related to interior defense and perimeter defense together. Now, if you have 90 interior D and perimeter D, it's only going to cost you 5. Now, I want to talk about how I think the game does this in a different and kind of wrong way, and we'll kind of use shooting for this example. Now, the reason I want to use shooting for this example is you can see across the board, every single badge only costs 5 to equip. Nothing less, nothing more. Whereas you can see that's not the same case when it comes to defense. Some cost 5, some cost 6, some cost 7, and that's because of my variety in ratings. Now, I don't think the variety in ratings should be the only thing that plays a factor in this. I think what 2K should absolutely do is implement their own badge budget system. So whether 2K wanted to implement their own system when it comes to this, or just take the general community feedback in terms of tier list videos or whatever the case may be, and just make things like blinders or Deadeye, mismatch expert, sniper, the S tier, top of the tier badges cost more than things like set shooter or rhythm shooter, where these absolutely are not run at the highest level when it comes to being comp point guards, or if they are run at the highest level, it's because they have enough badge points to do so. But either way, nobody is putting set shooter or rhythm shooter at the same value as blinders, sniper, mismatch expert, Deadeye, or even hot zone hunter for that matter. I really do think if they implemented their own badge budgeting system and made S tier, top of the tier badges cost more than the average badge like rhythm shooter would, because I'm sure I could drop this 3-point rating right here. So now let's just go ahead and show this. I dropped my 3-pointer to 93, my mid-range to 93. No like particular picking at any certain thing. I just did this randomly, and then boom. As you can see, rhythm shooter and set shooter cost 6 to run, and Hall of Fame sniper cost 5. It's just completely backwards. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. So again, in today's video, we asked the question, is 2K22 Next Gen Myplayer Builder the most balanced we've ever seen? Obviously, there are things like this that do need some work, and I'm not coming out here being biased with this. I'm just calling it as it is. I think this Myplayer Builder system is really balanced. I think they make the case for being anything in this game. Now, the one thing that obviously struggles is maybe like a pure slasher who doesn't put any shooting on his build. But at the same time, I come out here on builds like this and I love it. I absolutely love what they did with this game. They balanced the driving dunk ability. They made it so there's a contact dunk meter, and you can absolutely be comp with this stuff and do it consistently and depend on that. In the past, you would just hold down on your stick and hope for a good animation. In today's game of 2K22 Next Gen, when you can hold down on your stick with the dunk meter with a really high driving dunk rating, you have the chance of making a contact dunk every single time you do it. Now, you have to time it well, but that's a good thing. That's definitely a good addition to this game. I think they balanced that in a really good way. We could talk all day about, like, you know, the balance of this game in terms of whether offense versus defense is good. I mean, there's countless debates when it comes to that. You could talk about close shot versus interior defense, how close shot is like really dominant in terms of being compared to hands up defense and not being able to contest it. You could talk about speed with ball versus speed on defense, or speed with ball versus perimeter defense for that matter, or maybe we'll say ball handle versus steal. I mean, this game has been all over the place when it comes to pluck steals, so that's kind of a hard one. Or we could talk about perimeter defense versus 3-point rating, how like it's a little bit tough to get contests in this game, or obviously like blinders, Deadeye, mismatch expert, it all plays a factor into stuff like that. And there's really nothing to combat that besides Intimidator. And honestly, Intimidator doesn't feel like it exactly is the combat to, let's say, things like blinders, Deadeye, mismatch expert. I guess you could make the case that offense is definitely a little bit more on the beneficiary side than it is defense. Where if I had to kind of throw a slider, where let's just say a perfect game means a slider is right in the middle, I just made this quick graphic real quick. It's nothing spectacular or anything like that. But let's just say a perfect game is where this fire emoji is right where the game needs to be for balance. Well, I feel like the game is kind of like right here. I feel like offense is definitely leaned toward when it comes to the balance of this game. Defense isn't exactly the aggressor in any situation. Now, in like patch 1, I feel like defense was the aggressor, where you were absolutely dominating on pluck steals. Everything was really good when it came to people didn't know how to dribble the ball extremely well, and they couldn't exactly get open that great. And defense was the aggressor. The game kind of felt like it was right here. Now, is that good for balance? I don't know, because some point guards definitely despise that. They didn't like that very much, and that's how you irritate this side of the of the debate, right? This is like getting political at this point, where we're talking about offense versus defense. Some people love offense being good, some people love defense being good, and it all comes down to a certain debate. And I think what makes perfect games is where the emoji is like right here. Now, how do we get there is the real question. When it comes down to what's balanced in this game or not, again, we talked about mismatch expert, blinders, deadeye, all types of stuff like that. They're pretty stupid badges to an extent, right? It doesn't exactly make a lot of competitive sense, but then at the same time, if you don't have them, then defense is once again the aggressor. It's way too good, and people can't get open. They can't make any shots in semi-contested areas, and at the end of the day, what's the point of having 99 three-pointer and having those Hall of Fame badges if you can't exactly use it other than to just make open shots? It doesn't exactly make a lot of sense. I understand that, but then at the same time, you can make the case of, why am I making a pure lock who has 99 perimeter defense and 99 steal rating, and let's say you even have like 75 block rating, and you have really good speed, all types of stuff like that, great defensive badges, and you're still not stealing the ball when you should be, or you're getting made contested shots on you. Now, this is where we come back to the title. I want to talk about the whole, is the 2K22 Myplayer builder the most balanced we've ever seen? Here's the thing. In terms of other Myplayer builders, there have been absolute metas in the game. Now, don't be wrong, there have been absolute metas in this game as well, but the patches have been on top of that stuff, bro. I gotta say, they have done really good at balancing, making it worth making taller point guards in terms of not having to make just the super small, like 5'7" to 5'9" PGs who just come out here and just spam 99 three-pointer and 99 speed with ball and ball handle rating and all types of stuff like that. They've made the case now to actually have like doable driving dunk rating. You want to be able to get the quick drops. If you don't have dunks, you are limited when it comes to offense now in this game, and that's just how it is. And I will say they've done a really good job at balancing that. Now, I want to kind of compare and contrast amongst previous years, let's say. So ironically, the pie chart system creates a little bit of an unbalanced situation anyway, where playmaking shot creator of the yellow and green pie chart, we all know about it. I mean, whether it's 2K22 current gen, 2K21 current gen, 2K20, everything like that. The pie chart system has been 100% just metalized. That's not even a word, but it's been made where everybody knows the meta point guard build before the game even drops, as long as the pie chart's in the game. It's just how it is. In 2K20, we knew the two-way slashing playmaker with the red-yellow pie chart was super OP when it came to 2v2. It didn't exactly have the three-point rating ability to be able to be super viable, at least in the 3v3 or pro-am situation. It didn't have the three-point rating to hang at the point guard position, but anyway, honestly, when it comes down to the big man position in 2K20, I think it was really balanced. Insides and outsides were both really good. I think what this game needs for perfect balance, what makes a great game in terms of balance, is whether insides or outsides work for the big man position. And this game does have that, if you ask me. I think other people would disagree and that say that you do need an outside big. Me personally, it works perfectly fine for me. But then again, it also stems off of your point guards and stuff like that. It also could be made the same case for point guard positions. If you can make an inside point guard and an outside point guard and a balanced point guard of any variance in between anything like that, then it makes a good game as well. Or again, to talk about offense versus defense, all that stuff, it goes on and on. I mean, honestly, it's hard to put a stamp on everything, but we all know what I'm talking about here. Games like 2K19 though, that's a whole different story, where pure locks were the meta build. If you didn't have a pure lock, you were tripping. I mean, honestly, dudes came out here on 2v2 with two pure locks with like 53 pointer and 50 something ball handle rating and like 60 something ball handle rating, and it would still work. Why? Because they could dunk, they could shoot, they could handle the ball, they played amazing defense, versatility like was crazy, and it was just unbalanced. It didn't make any sense that pure locks were so good. That's a game that really shows the example of the fire emoji slider being way too far toward defense and not anything toward offense. And again, I mean, the list goes on and on for stuff like this. I don't want to go too far, but the last little discussion I'm going to showcase here in today's video is to talk about 2K17. So it had really good balance, if you ask me. You could come out here at the big man spot. You could be a rim protector, a post scorer, an athletic finisher. A glass cleaner was the meta of the game, but again, I came out here on a 7-foot athletic finisher with like 71 rebound rating and bronze hustle rebounder going against dudes that had literally 99 with Hall of Fame hustle rebounder, and I could still compete when it came to rebounds, and they were 7'3" as well. So anyway, I feel like when it comes down to that game, you also had things like sharps, like point forwards and stuff like that. I think the guard position was a little bit monopolized though in two different builds. The pure sharps at like 6'3" to 6'2" were definitely like the absolute meta. And then if you didn't have a 6'10" point forward, I don't know what you were doing. I mean, I myself had a 6-foot point guard, a 6-foot pure playmaker that had the same speed with ball as a 6'10" pure point forward. I mean, it didn't make any sense. That was one that was not balanced when it came to heights at all. But I feel like the archetype system was to an extent. Overall though, I just want to say I think this game has amazing balance when it comes to the Myplayer builder system, and I think a lot of people are taking for granted what this Myplayer builder system has done. It's also been super interesting, bro, and I will say some people probably think that the metric system is bad for the game. I gotta say, I think it makes it really fun, really interesting. You see a lot of new different builds come out here that are like never before seen or never even thought of, and it makes the game less bland, bro. You don't have to come out here and be like, oh, I have a 7-footer, I have a 5'9", I have a 7'3". No, instead you could be like, I have a 6'11" and 3/4 metric build that gets completely different ratings than anything else would in the game. And I understand some people who make the vanilla builds, they probably don't like that, but it is what it is, man. I think it makes the game fun, it makes it interesting, gives a lot of really good content as well for me in a biased perspective, from a content creator's perspective. But anyway, again, I think all that stuff really is good for the game. The balance is in a really good spot right now, but I do think defense could use just a little bit more help when it comes to shot contest, whether that be for the interior or the perimeter. But honestly, man, other than that, I might even be stretching it when I say the offense is like 70-30 on that slider. Honestly, it's probably more like 60-40. I think at this point, on-ball defense has seen a nice little buff. I think they did, however, pass the interceptions, which was the aggressor on defense. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about, where the defense is the aggressor in those situations. It's making the plays. It's making the offensive players frustrated. Everything else to do with this game, I feel like there's really nothing on defense that frustrates people. And at this point now, there are still things that frustrate people on the offensive end, like, again, the contested shots, or just, I mean, honestly, there's a plethora of different things, like we said, the contested interior takes of the close shot rating and stuff like that. But again, other than that stuff, I think the game's in a pretty good balance point. Sorry you're sitting here looking at like a bland screen for the most part of the video. I mean, I'm just here to kind of debate, talk with you guys, and just kind of want to hear your perspective and your thoughts as well. So let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you think this Myplayer builder system is balanced, or if you think it's not balanced. If you think that there's no point in being anything other than a 5'9" point guard, or a 7'3" big man, or a 6'5" lockdown. I don't think that's the case. I think there's a whole lot of plethora of different types of variants and heights that you can do, or just all different types of ratings and all types of different ways you could create a build. I myself even use something that people don't even do in this game anymore, making a 6'6" pure slasher, or 6'7" for that matter, and coming out here with 25 3-pointer and isoing with it sometimes. I want to get back on that a little bit more too. We'll maybe make that in different videos. But anyway, again, just wanted to talk about this stuff. I want to hear you guys' perspective, want to hear your thoughts. So if you have any feedback you want to leave in the comments, feel free to. Again, let me know what you think of that whole like badge budgeting system as well. I think 2K would be really smart for implementing that to an extent, where you make things like blinders and Deadeye and mismatch expert actually cost more. That could actually create a lot of balance and maybe make people do things like Kobe fade acing and stuff like that, where you maybe have like a 6'2" point guard that still runs a little bit of fade ace or something like that, because it's cheaper and it's worth doing. It's not really the case right now. A lot of people will just force their badges into like certain different areas that create the meta, and it is what it is. But anyway, again, that's off video. If you made it to the end, put balance in the comments, sure it puts me all the way through, or put unbalanced if that's how you feel about the game. Whatever you want to do. But anyway, on that, hope you all enjoyed. Take it easy, man. Peace.